So, you ready to hear about the worst employee I've ever encountered in more than 30 years? It has a happy ending. So, this is many years ago, but a leader was struggling with an employee, and she initially called me in because when she tried to have correction conversations with him, he would come into her office. Now, the setup was her office was behind a large window at the front of the customer service area. And there were a bank of cubicles with an aisle in the center outside of her office. And so she would try to have a correction conversation with him. He would become frustrated. He would start yelling, screaming, and swearing at her. He would burst out of her office and throw things off of everyone's desk as he moved through the aisle. And he was still working there. All right. So I enter the picture. They give me his file. On top of that, I find that IT is onto him. He's in customer service. He's spending a majority of his day looking at sports scores and Facebook or other social media platforms. So not doing his job. And he's showing up late most days and leaving early a lot of time. So he also wrote his boss an email stating that it had come to his attention that since they didn't have an attendance policy, he didn't have to show up for work on time. This, by the way, is not true. Now, should you have an attendance policy? Yes. But is it true that you can't expect someone to have their butt in the seat to do their job? No. So, anyway, so that was the context before I met him. My blood was boiling. Wow. Such entitlement. So, uh, what we did is the good news is that I helped this leader feel empowered. So, understandably, she was not looking forward to any more correction conversations with him. They weren't going well. They weren't achieving the outcome that she desired. As a matter of fact, it always made things worse. She felt like she couldn't maintain control during the meetings or, again, achieve her objective, which would be for him to do his job and get there on time and take care of the customers. So, we planned ahead. Everything was written down. Here's the thing, it's fine to read what you need to share during a correction conversation. It's okay. It's okay if your voice shakes. Uh, just get the words out. I say all this to say, like, don't be stopped by fear. So I sat with her. I was there just in case. In more than 30 years, I haven't lost control of a correction or high conflict conversation yet. I've had many. I facilitate many high conflict, difficult conversations, and this was one. So, what we did is set the ground rules when we started the conversation that we would be respectful, we'd be professional, we'd listen to one another. That first, he was going to listen to the full breadth of what needed to be shared. Then he would have a brief amount of time to comment or ask questions from a respectful place. And then we'd be done. And that when he left, he needed to be respectful as well. So the conversation starts. He does try to bust in every once in a while, but she's quick to maintain control of the meeting, remind him of the ground rules that were set. I think I jumped in once or twice. So he listens. We did talk about the fact that even if there's not an attendance policy, you can't do your job if you're not at work. And so the team needs you. So you need to be there. But we set the clear expectations about how quickly we needed to see a change in behavior and performance, outlined exactly what needed to be done. He listened, he signed it. He left. He was respectful. There was no knocking everything off people's desks, etc. And so the good news. So again, this is the worst employee I've encountered. I actually had someone bring a gun and then security had to take me to an unemployment hearing for that person. And because they were worried about my safety, but this one's still the worst one I've encountered. So, anyway, the good news is one, he was on time the next few days, but then he turned in his notice, written, signed resignation letter, and he was off to share his joy with others. So, that is the worst shortened version of the worst employee that I've ever dealt with in over 30 years, and the really happy outcome. And here's the thing, sometimes as leaders, um, or I find clients sometimes they want to avoid those tough conversations. But what you're doing then is giving away your power. And ultimately, employees are choosing when they should show up and how they should behave. And that's working for them. So in that power play, they want to decide how they'll work, and it's being allowed, and that works for them. And it likely doesn't work for you. You're probably building resentments and overwhelm, and your good employees are frustrated and possibly leaving, and all those things are happening. There's tons of drama and friction building. But the good news is a lot of times when you set that bar, you set the clear expectation, you have that conversation. And again, it's okay. Maggie Kuhn, this is one of my favorite quotes. And it's from her. She was part of the Gray Panthers. Speak your mind, even if your voice shakes. It's okay. It's okay. And read it. It's okay. Just get it out. Read it with a shaky voice. It's fine. But that'll help you stay organized and make sure that you get all the information out. So just come prepared. But anyway, the good news is that if someone truly is using stay stuck strategies to continue to design their own work in a way that isn't consistent with how you want them to work, which isn't consistent with the experience that you want for your customers or residents or patients, whatever you call the people you serve, when you set the bar, when you set the clear expectation, often they will self-select out because it's not convenient for them. And they're going to go spread their joy elsewhere. They're going to go find the next opportunity to get paid to do whatever they want to do versus what their boss wants them to do. So if you have team members who are choosing their own way of engaging in work for you, I encourage you to have the conversations. If you're struggling with the conversations, there are 5 key stay stuck strategies that employees and people in our life will use when they don't want to hear contrary information. And I will encourage you to reach out to me if you need to know about them. I can happily share these with you. But not only are there key ways to identify the stay stuck strategies, and sometimes they're using multiple stay stuck strategies, but you can identify the stay stuck strategies they're using, which helps you stay grounded and focused on the conversation and in control, because I can also share some key phrases to use to help you overcome and maintain control of a conversation, even when they're using the stay stuck strategies. There's also a mindset around not feeling guilty uh, in setting expectations for an employee, even if they don't want you to. Um, you it's your job as a leader to let people know what the definition of success is, and I encourage you to do this. Again, if you're not doing this, your employees are defining what success looks like in your business, and it might not be aligned with what you would want. You also are giving them the power to dictate work hours, etc. So and you're robbing them of the opportunity, because it's a very, very small number of employees, really, or percentage of people who use all the stay stuck strategies. Most people want to do a good job. And if you're not telling them what the definition of success is and where they stand based on that, they're likely feeling uncomfortable, because the truth is they want to feel like they're doing a good job. And the leader is the one who can let them know what they need to do a good job, and if they are. So please give your team good feedback, constructive feedback, positive and constructive. So let them know where they stand based on the definitions of success that you create for them. Trust me, life will get better at work within your team if you do that. Might you have some turnover? Yes. Because if you have employees who want to do the work they want to do versus what you want them to do, they might leave. But ultimately, it's a good thing, especially if you get that signed letter of resignation. So please, if you are working to make your bigger, bolder impact, want to live and lead for impact, it does require setting clear expectations for those who work for you or with you. So I encourage you to do that, and don't let an employee using stay stuck strategies take away your leadership power. All right. Thanks for listening. Again, drop comments below. Let me know you watched or shoot me a message. And you can always grab 30 minutes on my calendar. Super simple. Go to focus4coaching.com/book call. That's it. Grab a spot. Let's talk about what's going on in your work and in your life. Talk some next steps, create some strategies. I'm always happy to connect. Thanks for listening. Make it a great day.